Summary of Still Alice by Lisa Genova. Dr. Alice Howland is a well-known and respected psycholinguistics professor at Harvard University. John, her husband, is also a permanent professor at Harvard. He often spends a lot of time in his biology lab working with his graduate students and doing research. They have 3 children together: Anna, who is trying to have her first child with Charlie; Tom, who is in his 3rd year as a medical student at Harvard; and Anna, who is trying to become an actress in Los Angeles. Alice and John are both very driven, and their jobs have kept them apart a lot during their marriage. But they are still happy with each other and the life they've made together. Alice spent a lot of time away from home over the summer. Before school starts again, she has to give one last talk at Stanford University. She is also going to see Lydia in Los Angeles during her trip. John tells Alice not to fight with Lydia too much. Lydia doesn't want to stop acting for school, but Alice wants her to go to college. This makes it hard for them to get along. Alice suddenly forgets a word she uses a lot while she is giving her talk at Stanford. She moves on, but she feels bad about it because she can't remember it. Alice later visits Lydia at her house before going to dinner with her. Alice and Lydia have a small fight over dinner about Lydia's plans for her life. They can't agree on anything. The waiter follows them out of the diner to tell Alice that she forgot her BlackBerry. Lydia seems wary, but she doesn't say anything. After going back to Cambridge, Alice is upset to find that John is not there, even though she told him she would be there when she got there, even though she got in late. Alice is mad, so she chooses to run, which is something she does every day along the same path. When Alice gets to the end, though, she gets lost and can't figure out how to get back to her house. She freaks out, but after a while she remembers how to get home. John is there, but he tells her he's going to leave soon. He tells her he doesn't want to stay because he is still upset and calls her needy before leaving. After he leaves, Alice is still upset about what happened. But the more she thinks about it, the more she fears it might be menopause. There are signs that match hers, so she looks them up and feels better. She then goes to bed. Even though Alice was sure that her symptoms were just from menopause, she starts to worry that there is something more serious going on. While at her 50th birthday party, she has a small meltdown in the bathroom because she is scared about what is wrong with her. She makes an appointment with Dr. Tamara Moyer, who has been her main care doctor for 22 years. Before telling Alice that she is probably in the early stages of menopause, Dr. Moyer asks her about her symptoms and how she lives her life. She wants to do some tests, though, because she doesn't think Alice's memory loss is caused by menopause. She looks out of her office window more often to think about her job while she waits for her next meeting. It wasn't easy for her to be successful, and she doesn't think John would have been able to handle as much as she did, like work, study, kids, and going to conferences. Alice gets an email one day telling her she forgot to send some important slides. The next day, she forgets what lesson to give her class, even though she spent an hour going over the material. John tells her when she gets home that she needs to get on a plane and go to Chicago that afternoon. Soon after, Alice goes back to see Dr. Moyer and is told that her tests were negative. Alice asks to be sent to a doctor. As every year, Alice and John go to Eric Wellman's Christmas party with the Harvard Psychology Department in December. While she was there, Alice's graduate student Dan introduced her to Beth, his new wife. They talked for a while before Alice had to leave. When she comes back a short time later, she doesn't remember Beth and has to describe herself again, which makes people around her look at her funny. They think Alice has had too much to drink, so John leads her away, and the others go home. Alice sees Dr. Davis, a neurologist, not long before Christmas. He gives her some tests to see how smart she is. He tells her that he thinks her memory problems may have a major cause at the end of the tests and orders more tests and blood work to be done. Before she gets any answers that Christmas, Alice can't stop thinking about what might be wrong with her. She turns the dictionary into a test for herself. She picks words at random, writes them down, and then sets a timer. She has to remember the words when the timer goes off. In the evening, she does this over and over again, never missing a word until her family comes home and makes a lot of noise. Alice gets angry with both of her children, which is not like her, and then she gets the ingredients for the bread pudding she makes every year. It scares her that she can't remember the recipe, even though she has made it every year since she was a kid. The next month, Alice goes back to see Dr. Davis to get her test results. He is mad that she didn't bring a family member with her, even though he told her to. His words to Alice make her think that she might have early-onset Alzheimer's, which is linked to a strong genetic linkage. Medication can slow the disease's growth a bit, but it is still degenerative and can't be cured. Alice is shocked and afraid that the sickness will be passed on to her children. A guide and some papers are given to her by Dr. Davis to take home. He tells her to tell John. Alice does tell John about her symptoms and diagnosis after a short time of being angry and sad. John does not believe it at first, but soon comes to terms with the fact that something may be wrong. He then leaves her to look into possible treatments, reasons, and clinical studies. John and Alice are soon going to see a genetic counselor to get a test done on Alice. This will tell them for sure if she has a PS1 gene trait that would have been passed on to their children. The counselor says that Alice really does have this trait. After some time, Alice and John finally get Anna, Tom, and Lydia to come over and talk about Alice's illness and the chance that they will have to deal with the same thing one day. Lisa and Lydia decide not to get checked to see if they have the gene, but Anna and Tom do. What the tests for Anna and Tom showed is that Anna has inherited the gene while Tom did not. So, Anna, who is getting pregnant through in vitro fertilization, decides to test her and Charlie's eggs before they are implanted to make sure they don't have the same trait. One day, Alice sneaks into a care center for people with dementia. The butterfly necklace she wears is her mom's. This necklace used to only be worn on rare events, but since she was diagnosed, Alice wears it all the time. What Alice sees at the center makes her sick, so she quickly leaves. She gets ice cream and takes some time to think about what she wants to do with her life. For her kids' big events, she wants more time, and she also wants to take another year off with John. She also makes a plan to kill herself when her illness makes her too much for her family to handle. In the end, this plan doesn't work because she can't find the medicine. Alice's situation quickly gets worse. She has a hard time getting things done without technology, John, and their kids. John has a hard time handling all the help Alice needs, which makes their marriage less stable. On the other hand, Alice wants to get closer to Lydia, and soon they won't have to fight when they talk about plays and Lydia's playing. Lydia gets good at reading Alice and figuring out what she wants and how she feels before anyone else. This helps them get closer. When Eric calls Alice into his office to talk about the bad reviews she got from students last term, Alice tells him that she has Alzheimer's. Alice didn't understand how much her symptoms were getting in the way of her work, so she quits teaching and giving speeches. She does keep her office, though, so she can help Dan finish his paper. Alice's coworkers soon start to avoid her, and she spends less time at work. Alice creates a support group for herself and other area dementia patients who want to connect with someone who understands what they are going through. This helps her make up for the friends she lost at work. Alice can't concentrate on movies or books, so she doesn't know what to do with her days. Her kids often come over to help her and spend time with her, especially Anna, who is now pregnant with twins. But she has a hard time because she doesn't have a busy plan to stick to. John comes home one day to tell his family that he has been offered a job in New York City. He and the kids fight about his choice to move Alice away from her home, and Alice doesn't like that they talk about her without asking her what she thinks. Alice doesn't want to move, and she doesn't like that John does. He knows that she wants to spend one more year on vacation with him, which he won't be able to do if he changes jobs. After getting angry, Alice sees she can't get him to stay, so she gives up. Alice's situation keeps getting worse, and she often has trouble recognizing Lydia. She still has meetings with Dr. Davis and gives a speech at the Dementia Care Conference, but other than that, her life has slowed down because she doesn't talk to as many people as she used to. Anna has twins in April. Their names are Allison and Charles Thomas. Alice is awake enough to know her and asks if the babies will also get Alzheimer's. Alice tells her they won't do that. John decides to move to New York in the end, leaving Alice in Cambridge to take care of the kids. Because she wants to study theater in college, Lydia is moving closer to her family. She is excited to be closer to Alice and Anna's new babies. Alice loves having Anna bring her babies over to her house so she can hold and play with them. John takes Alice to their beach house for one last vacation right before he goes. Alice briefly wakes up there and tells him that she remembers him and that she used to be smart. He told her she was the smartest person he had ever met, and she told him she missed herself. John leaves the following month and learns that the test drug Alice had been taking did not pass. Carol, the nurse, comes to take care of Alice, who has forgotten who her kids are. Almost every day, Anna and Lydia help take care of her, and Alice loves cuddling the babies. Lisa acts out a play scene in the last few pages and asks Alice what it's about. Lydia is happy when Alice tells her it's about love, and Lydia agrees with Alice.
About the author. Lisa Genova was born in Waltham, Massachusetts, on November 22, 1970. Genova got her Bachelor of Science in Biopsychology from Bates College. In 1998, she got her PhD in neuroscience from Harvard University. Genova has done studies at both Yale Medical School and Massachusetts General Hospital. Genova put out her first book, Still Alice, on her own in 2007. Later, Simon & Schuster picked it up and turned it into an Oscar-winning movie with Julianne Moore and Alec Baldwin. Genova won the Pell Center Prize for Story in the Public Square and several other awards and honors in 2015. She mostly got these for her work in spreading information about Alzheimer's disease and how important it is to find it early. She lives in Massachusetts with her kids.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.